The first sign appeared on a Tuesday morning. Deep space monitoring stations across the globe detected something that would change everything. A structured transmission from the void between stars. Not random cosmic noise, but something deliberate, something calculated. Dr. Sarah Chen was the first to recognize the pattern. Prime numbers in perfect sequence, repeating every 12 minutes. Within hours, observatories worldwide confirmed the same signal, growing stronger as its source moved closer to Earth. Government agencies scrambled to decode the message while the public remained unaware. What they discovered in those early hours would haunt the survivors for generations to come.
The transmission contains detailed schematics of human DNA. Not just any DNA. Optimized genetic profiles. They're not trying to communicate with us. They're cataloging us.
The transmission revealed three distinct components: mathematical proofs demonstrating vast intelligence, complete biological data about human physiology, and most disturbing of all, what appeared to be inventory reports. Population counts sorted by region, age, and genetic markers. Dr. Chen worked through the night, her coffee growing cold as the implications crystallized. The aliens weren't exploring, they weren't conquering, they were shopping. The next morning brought confirmation of humanity's worst fears. Massive ships emerged from behind the moon, vessels the size of cities with surfaces covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift when observed directly. They positioned themselves in perfect formation above Earth's major population centers: New York, London, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, Moscow. Each ship hung motionless in geosynchronous orbit, casting shadows that stretched for miles. They ignored all attempts at communication, silent as tombstones in the sky.
The mathematical sequences in their transmissions have changed. They're no longer sending prime numbers. Now they're transmitting coordinates, precise locations of specific buildings across the globe.
The coordinates targeted hospitals, universities, research facilities, and government buildings, places where Earth's most valuable minds gathered. The aliens had studied human civilization with surgical precision, mapping not just our cities but our social structures. On the third day, the harvest began. Blue beams descended from each ship, touching buildings at the exact coordinates transmitted earlier. The light was soft, almost welcoming. Those caught in its glow described feeling an overwhelming sense of purpose, of belonging. Doctors abandoned their patients mid-surgery, professors left their lectures, engineers walked away from critical projects, all drawn by an irresistible call from above. The selection process was methodical: high intelligence, advanced education, genetic markers for longevity and disease resistance, physical fitness, reproductive capacity. The aliens weren't taking everyone, they were harvesting humanity's premium stock.
We tracked the psychological profiles. Every person who entered the light scored in the top percentiles for cognitive ability and genetic health. They're strip mining our species for its best specimens.
Those who entered the beams never returned. The ship's cargo holds filled with humanity's doctors, scientists, teachers, and leaders, while scanning beams swept the remaining population. Heart rates measured from orbit, brain activity analyzed through skull bone, genetic markers cataloged and filed. The aliens compiled a complete database of everyone on Earth, sorting humans like livestock at auction. Premium grade, standard quality, substandard, defective. Within a week, 20% of Earth's population had vanished into the sky, not the weak or elderly but the strong and brilliant. The remaining population faced a horrifying realization: they had been judged and found wanting.
The scanning patterns suggest they're planning a second harvest. The beams are now targeting younger populations. College students, graduate programs, anyone showing potential for future development.
The second wave targeted potential rather than achievement. Bright children were lifted from playgrounds. Promising students disappeared from classrooms. Young adults with untapped brilliance walked willingly into the light. Those left behind began to understand their fate. They were not worthy of harvest. They were waste product, the genetic chaff left behind after the wheat was gathered. The aliens had no use for the average, the ordinary, the imperfect. But waste still required disposal. The ships changed configuration on day 10, their geometric patterns shifting into new arrangements. The soft blue beams became harsh white light, no longer selective, no longer gentle. The final phase had begun. Not harvest. Extermination. Dr. Chen, one of the few brilliant minds who had managed to avoid the initial selection, transmitted a final message as the sterilization beams powered up.
If anyone receives this transmission, understand what happened here. We were not invaded. We were farmed. And now the field is being cleared for the next crop.
The light that followed was brief, but absolute. When it faded, Earth was silent, clean, ready for whatever the harvesters would plant in humanity's place. In the empty cities, only the wind moved through abandoned buildings. The aliens had what they came for. The best of humanity would serve new purposes in distant worlds, while Earth waited for fresh seeds to take root in its fertile soil. The harvest was complete.